Today, we're going to kind of discuss where we are right now, given the action, I don't know, the last 3 or 4 days, depending on how you want to look at it, and and what we can kind of like project out into the immediate future on what to expect. So I'm not going to sit here and talk about tariffs or anything like that, but it was obvious that the bond market was kind of freezing up, forcing the hand of the president to pull back on his proposals. And I just want to say this about the proposals. If the market likes a certain degree of certainty, we all understand there is no certainty in the market, but we want a degree of certainty. And the only thing I'll say about these tariffs and the negotiations is this. If we were sitting there and the street was observing that Europe has a 10% tariff on U.S. cars and we have a 2.5% on theirs, and we're going to negotiate, I think the street could come to a conclusion on how the process is going to play out. There was actually a news story where one of the banks went in and did all the scenarios and everything, and then when Trump introduced the slate of tariffs and everything, which were just made up, they threw everything out and they said, it just makes no sense. So my point being is, look at the things that we were asking. We were putting on tariffs, but we were asking for political things. We were asking for military things, security things. We were asking for minerals. In other words, very long, drawn-out negotiations with multiple countries, multiple blocks of countries. There was no end that they could see in sight. Thereby, the street was kind of adrift. They didn't know what to do, and they don't like that, all right? That's first. So, and by the way, the perfect example of that is Vietnam. Vietnam said, okay, we'll go to zero tariffs. And what did Navarro say? Not good enough. We want you to get rid of the VAT tax. So I looked it up. How many countries in the world use the VAT tax? Oh, 175. How many we tariff? 180. We're going to ask everyone to give up the VAT tax because we don't use the VAT tax? I don't get it. But anyway, neither did the street. Now, let's go back to this thing with the CEOs of Citicorp, Bank of America, HSBC, and Barclays meeting on Monday evening, to discuss what I think was a client. In fact, I'm sure it was a client. And an observer on that phone call was another CEO of JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon. Listen, if they were going to go in and discuss the client's positions, the CEO wouldn't be on the phone, okay? They would have the head of trading, the head of risk, the head of credit. They would have the people who make the decisions every single day. When you're the CEO of a major firm, you cannot believe the issues coming at you just every single day. And understanding the trading book, you generally get it, you understand it. I mean, like Ted Pick ran it for the firm, so he gets it, but he's not involved with it all the time, okay? So that meeting was a political meeting. And what do I mean by a political meeting? They were there to decide if they were going to shoot the hedge fund in the head. That was it. They're going to put a couple in the back of the head and end everybody's misery. But to do that, it's a political decision. In my opinion, they made the decision to shoot the hedge fund in the head, okay? So that night, we saw bonds sold in Japan. Why? Okay, let's go through. You're a hedge fund, you're in trouble, okay? What's the first thing you sell? You sell your gains, okay? Sell all your winners as soon as you can, especially if you're in trouble. We're talking about trouble now, okay? So what do you got left? You got your losers and you have your treasuries, which you use for your leverage, right? Because you're levering up, 30, 40, 50 times to buy your winners and losers. So you sell your winners, now you got your losers, and now you have your treasuries. Okay, so once the CEOs made the political decision to shoot the hedge fund in the head, where did they go? They went to Japan to sell because the book is traded around. Our book was 8 hours in New York, 8 hours in Japan, 8 hours in London. Oh, you have sub-books in Hong Kong and Singapore and Paris, but Basically, there's three places, one book, okay? So they go there and they sell. So the money is flowing into Japan. So what goes up? The yen goes up. And if you go there on Monday night, I was watching this when our bonds were 10 years 450 and we hit 5% on the 30-year. The yen had gone down. I saw 144.87. The only reason I'm bringing this up is we had the yen carry trade crash, whatever that was, 4, 5, 6 months ago, when it hit 144.40, okay? And we were at 144.87. We could have been lower. I don't know, okay? And more importantly, you have to understand something. It may or may not have caused the crash, but given what was going on in the markets and how we were freezing up, it definitely could have kicked off the unwinding of the yen carry trade. So what does Japan do? Japan sits there and says, what do they own? What are their reserves? Well, guess what? The reserves are the US dollar that expressed in US treasuries, okay? So I made a comment. I answered a comment where someone said, Japan was teaching us a lesson and selling the bond to put pressure on it. I totally disagree with that, okay? They may have sold some of their treasuries to get yen, to sell the yen, to keep the yen from going up. That's what was going on, if they did that, all right? Because they didn't want it. And by the way, the yen went up to 147. Today we're back down to 144 something. Here, let's take a look. Okay, so you can see where we are now. We are lower than we were Monday night, but there we were Monday night. And look at that drop, okay? That was on Monday, one day. And so the Japanese may have sold some of their treasuries to get yen, to sell the yen, to stop the yen carry trade from happening. So why do I believe this? Well, what was the number one performing stock on Friday? Anybody? Bueller? It was U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel was almost up 6 points. What was the rumor? Trump was going to approve Nippon Steel's takeover of U.S. Steel, which, as anyone follows this channel, knows that we believe this is critically important to our country to have done. And I think, having Biden and then Trump, two old men making old men decisions, that was the wrong decision. And we will make the right decision in the end, and we'll allow Nippon Steel to buy U.S. Steel, okay? Plus, Japan was just given favored positioning for negotiations, and the rumors are out there that they're going to build ships for us, either 2 aircraft carriers, and we're negotiating with South Korea to build our missile frigates because we can't build them ourselves. So, in no way do I believe the Japanese were selling their bonds to send us a message. No way. They've already got the message. So, what does this mean to us, and why do we care? All right, so think of what I told you about the hedge fund. Sold all its winners. Now they sold all their treasuries that were their leverage, and now they're holding all their losers. So that political decision that the banks made was basically this, that they took over that loser book, that they're working through the book. So if you're sitting here saying, why don't they tell us? Well, they don't tell us because they're still holding all those losers. They got to figure out how to get rid of them. Yesterday's rally could have helped, but it also could have hurt because that bank, that hedge fund who's in trouble, could have bought puts or whatever to protect themselves from further getting crushed, and then the market reversed itself and went up whatever it was in one day, okay? So I know our portfolios look better, but if you're a hedge fund, it could have hurt you even worse. So what are we looking for? I'm watching the yen, and look at the yen ratcheting up. And also it came out yesterday where someone in the administration said that we've told the Japanese that we think that their currency is undervalued, and we want you to drive it up. And the way they're going to drive it up is with interest rates. So 1, look for the Japanese interest rates to go up. 2, I don't know what's going to happen with this yen, the yen carry trade. I don't know. What do you think? Like and follow, and certainly tell me in the comments.